And the uniforms, yes, not only uniform, also the in garments in worldwide right now, there's quite a lot of wastage. Like I saw the one of the news mentioned that in the Chile, is really that quite a lot of the garment is sent back to that like a dead of such clothes. Is really there's a lot of pictures I saw it in theirs. So means quite a lot of item is just a wastage. Then uniforms, this one also that's in Asia, still a lot of the outlets totally different designs. What some of the uniform is really need tailoring. Means depend on people size difference. So we
Yeah.
have to measure for everything. So means more wastage things happens, but still the requirement from just as a guest point of views. Oh, for example, the Shangri-La is using for these uniforms, Mandarin using this uniform, Rose is using this uniform means quite a lot of the iconic such a uniforms requirement from the customer point of view. That's why the hotel also provide for just their own identification for just uniforms. So that's
Yeah.
why that's in this moment not so many such uh, how to say the solving the issue for the reducing the quantity of the wastage. But of course, as each of the items, we are more material point of view. For example, as recyclable polyesters, we must be using right now all uniforms, not the pure plastics using the polyesters.
Okay.
This is everything the recyclable polyesters we can use for the kind of recyclable things.
So
This part is
do you know in your group now whether they have like a central purchasing for, let's say, maintenance department or housekeeping, that all, do you think that every hotel could use the same housekeeping uniform and then bulk purchase? Because, like with a housekeeping, you're right, there's a lot of different sizes, but if you were to able to do a small, medium, and large, um, or housekeeping, and then you could have that across the company. Obviously, if every GM wants to have their own style of front desk's uniform or guest relations uniform, but right now, let's say Island Shangri-La. I know when I was there, a lot of the guest relation would wear red, a red
yep.
jacket, red uniform. Is that still the case? And is that a special fabric that you go to a special supplier? I mean, how do you select who you're going to use to do the design? Or let's say you're opening a new coffee shop restaurant or a new Japanese restaurant, new Shang Palace. Who decides what uniform designer you're going to use?
Uh, just to take the example for this hotel right now, Shangri-La's, actually, each of the new project is handled by the project teams. It means the project teams provide for the total concept of the design of the restaurants,
Okay.
total menus, as well as the uniforms. It's a total image communicated with the HQ sites. So this is came down from just as a kind of project teams, a whole project one set coming down. So this is so far that we are doing. So, but the point is that I totally agree with you that if there are quite a lot of the hotel chains, like when I was working in another hotel brands like Intercontinental Hotel Groups, quite a lot of hotel chains they have it. Each hotel chains maybe can consider centralizing, they maybe can do minimize for uh, those wastage. Maybe we can do that this ways.
Yeah.
But just to go back to this island Shangri-La right now is that as I mentioned here, the flagship hotels. One of the point is that we want to be just only one kind of the unique the hotels direction want to be. That's why that might be it's a bit difficult all uniforms as a centralizings for the conceptuals. But in general speaking, in I agree with you that directions, same hotel group should be the same hotels uniforms. Then maybe we can reduce things for just as
Yeah.
a wastage. Yeah, I agree with that. Personally, I agree with you. The things, yes.
Yeah. So once, what you're saying is that once the hotel is open and it's operational, if it's going through renovation and then all that's decided by corporate office, right? But
Yep.
if it's already open and it's in operation, and let's say, you're working at, a Shangri-La hotel in Indonesia or in Bangkok, and that hotel wants to do a renovation of a new outlet, and they want, or they just want to change their outlet uniform. Who makes the decision about that?
Decision making is just depend on the location, but the most probably is that HQ need aware that what kind of uniform will be changed. Of course, we can still propose what's the materials, where it's coming from, what areas we want to change it.
Okay,
So this is yes, property levels. We can produce, sorry, provides what kind of the uniforms because some of the materials, some of the informations designers is nowadays more aggressively changes in markets. So if
okay,
sometimes a new technology, such a new designs, maybe can bring it in their
right,
considerations.
okay. So, can you share some of the strategies that Shangri-La employs to reduce textile waste, especially, linen and towels and uniforms?
Sure. As I mentioned, just to talk about thousand linens, for examples. Of course, we have such a analog and old methods, but still that we have tailors. Then they can make it transform it for the size of the linens. For example, just as twin bed sheets, sorry, the king bed sheets change to twin bed sheets. Size a little bit trim it because some of the areas it's not the middle of the sheet is holes, but still we can't use it because guests can see it's a large size. So this part is just our tailor can change the formatting the sizes. Well, of course, towels, for example, is just I'm connecting with just one of the authorizing for just dog shelters in Hong Kong as they are looking for the donated the bath towels and the bath mat
So you
because they
donate them
yeah
to different
yes
organization. Okay.
yes because as a hotel guest cannot use it but towel quality itself it still can use so just
Okay.
by just those donation also can participate in for the reducing for just a single garbage rather than that we can reuse for just as a recyclables. This
Hmm.
is kind of the direction we're using for right now.
Have you considered, or has the company considered using sustainable materials to manufacture sheets and towels and that type of thing for linen?
For the linens, that's still really, we just start to kick off the market studies because of the qualities, for example, grams and the how that gets the texture feelings. We have quite a lot of tests has to do it
Okay.
because we can talk with the ESGs, but if quality cannot drop off quite often, that's why
Right.
we have to think
If
about it.
if you were to if you were to find, right, let's say a supplier was able to say, okay, this is what you're using now, we can match the quality and it will last you 2 years longer and the cost will be the same. Do you think that there would be a incentive to switch?
Sure, of course. Why not? It is the most
Because
important thing
because
is
I
this.
think
Yeah,
that one thing I've noticed here is that a lot of hotel brands, they they use sustainability as a kind of marketing tool, and because there are some customers who are looking for hotels that have sustainable practices. So it could be a way to show that Shangri-La is a very innovative company. They're using high tech to save the environment because nobody else is really doing this in Asia. Do you have any thoughts on that?
uh, ideas, yes. I totally understood and we want to do the things, but as a good point of view, that is a quite huge project that has to move forward. So
Yeah.
that's why, of course, in this moment, just I can say that the study level, just we kick off the studies, how we
Okay.
can implementation for the things. Yes.
Right. So have either with this company or in the previous company with Rosewood or others, have you explored any kind of innovative technology or partnership to try to minimize waste in these areas? Because as we said earlier, housekeeping is one of the biggest wasters and has a very high carbon footprint, and not only because the rooms themselves are using a lot of electricity and disposable items and cleaning materials. So when it comes to me, it's like a low hanging fruit. You know, when you think about linen and uniforms, so actually, if we could save the company money, if you were to able to go to your GM and say, look, I've done some research here, and I think if we were to use XYZ or use AI technology, we could save the company 20% money and have the same quality or better quality. Do you think that have you managed to look into any of these type of approaches?
The AI point of view is not very popular in Hong Kong. So right now, some of the hotels, sorry, some of the company really produce for the AI things. But this one also still the learning process right now. So it's not really implementations or not really presentation to the
Yeah,
property levels. Of course, again, the housekeeping we using quite a lot of products, not only linens, uniform, also there's a lot of supplies. So those items, each single items, we are looking for that as what's of course not only as a material wastage, also just you mentioned as like for example CO2 as a emissions also that we need to think about is the
yeah,
transportations, washings, like using the energy for that as a uh, electricity, the usage, everything that's related for the right now, the whole world. That's why
right.
that's not only one area that's really, oh, this is eco, this is that's yes, it's really participated. But for using these ones, we spend more energies using for the CO2 emission more higher, then bits more considerable things.
Okay.
So
So when
just
it
one.
comes to sourcing, Rio, when it comes to like sourcing, do you have any criteria when sourcing sustainable linens and uniform for the staff? Do you have to, or is it? I mean, when in my time, it was more about the weight of the linen and the thread count and things like that. So now, are they introducing a sustainability or ESG factor in this, or not really?
Uh, in markets such as we can add it the comment for the ESG, yes.
Yeah,
But however, the right now is the beginning of such a criteria. For example, what kind of linear we are using, whatever the things written in the areas. First things exactly you mentioned right now, the first thread counts. Okay, what's
right.
the waste coming from the cotton itself. So those kind of things still they are talking, but in compared to the 10 years ago, like I working at another hotel brand like Mandarins, the time quite straightforward. That's what's the thread counts, where it's coming from. Those cottons is pure cottons. This cotton
Yeah,
from where it's coming from. So it's really keen on areas. But
yeah,
nowadays the trend is that's not really written for where it's coming from the cotton itself, but how the quality, how the guest experience. This
right,
is
right.
more targeting. So
Yeah.
that's why on top of such a line of ESG, such a materials, then qualities we can deliver to the guest expectations. I think this is a for the future. We have to see the one of the directions. I strongly believe so.
So if you're going to be using certain products, do you think that they are checking to see if that company is an ethical company or if they have ethical practices? Do they do those checks?
They also that's looking for the material itself. Yes, uh, of course they also participating with the ESG. That's no matter direct or indirect. Indirect means it's supposed to that's my
Yeah.
product still they are using for that's not really recyclable, but their company itself are participating for the ESG programs. So
Yes.
means no matter direct or indirect, they are do the things. Of course, we are
Okay.
looking for the supplier do the thing in these directions. Yes.
So, how do you engage your housekeeping staff in these initiatives around sustainability, particularly those related to things that you can control, that you have control over? I mean, some of the things you don't have so much control over. I mean, like the soap and the toothbrush and all that. I mean, whether the guest keeps it or whether they throw it away. But the things you do have control over, things like linen and towels and that, how do you educate your or engage your staff in your initiatives?
First of all, we teaching our teams, coaching the teams, that's what is ESG, what is environment things that they need to care, and what we can do ourselves. For example, uniforms, as we provide for the uniform free of charge to the staff. The thing is that this is a hotel belongings as well as that they should respect the uniforms. What
Right.
kind of uniform they are wears, if they know, then of course they can more cares. Like this is sustainable uniforms, or this is for just as a reusable as a polyester using. Means if they knows, of course they will more understanding. These are first things. The second thing
Right.
is that of course if they don't care linens. If they don't get the uniforms, we more increase the wastage damage. Then of course
Yeah.
this is that's affecting for that as a ESG program as well as more environment affected. So
Right.
that's why this part is just we just try to educate with our staff is just that those hotel linens uniform is same as yours, your clothes, your linens, because this is our assets, our
Right.
linens. It's supposed to the your own items, same
Yeah.
handling, same way to handling. This is
Okay.
one of the parts we have to educate the
Right.
teams. Yes.
So let's say you get a new staff coming on board, right? And they are, going to be measured up for a new uniform. Do you pull something out of your linen room that has been used before, maybe is in good condition and it seems to fit them, and give them that and say, okay, you wear this? Or does every staff have a brand new uniform designed specially for them? And then how long does that process take? Could you explain?
Uh, but needless to say, uniforms, uniforms. That's why I say it's not really customized all single stuff.
All right.
Of course, if there's like for example, Richard, your size is I can fit it. Maybe I can wear your jacket. Maybe they
Okay.
can use for that uniform that point of view. But of course, some of the stuff we don't really just hiring for that. Oh, you are the biggest or you're very
Yeah.
small, skinny. Then we not to measure for the size. Then higher or not higher. We didn't do it. Of course, if
Like
he or she
Singapore
they can.
Airlines. I think Singapore
Yes,
Airlines do that. I think, yeah,
yes.
they
But the
give you the
hotel is
dress.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but hotel is that really that we don't mind for the size of that stuff. That's why, of course, for the fitting that's uniforms,
Yeah.
we do the thing. So sometimes yes, we have to create the new ones.
Okay.
The time is that's yes, our timelines around that's around 3 weeks. We spend the
Right.
time yes for the new
Okay.
ones.
All right. That's not too bad. So, how do you tell the guest about what efforts you're making for sustainability with a guest and have they responded? Do they mention it in the TripAdvisor or guest comment card?
Uh, in a hotel guests, there's a of course one night stay with guests is a bit difficult to communicate because one time it's check-ins, the next day with the check-out. So it's
Right.
really difficult to that's how we do the ESG the things apart. No, normally we talk about more than 2 night stays a guests. Then we start to communicate with guests. Of course, simple ones are like that inside the guest rooms we provide for the those notice cards for that bed linens and the towels. You participated for the ESGs. We are not changing for the old towels.
Okay.
If you are the bedding that you prefer to change it, then please let us know. Then each 3 days we change for the programs. This is
So
just kind of
that's very interesting. So do you think if they know, let's say they come into the room and they see their bathrobe hanging in the closet
yeah.
and they see that their sheets are beautiful and then they know you have a note there to say that, oh, did you know that our bathrobes and our towels and things are made from recycled materials and are very high quality? Do you think that would add value to their experience or not really? Do you think they would think, oh, the company cares about the environment? What do you think they would think?
In general speaking, I believe that the add value for such as this kind of such material and the information. I think they can add values.
Yeah,
But of course, again, this is in the end, such as no matter which hotel groups like Shangri-La, Mandarin, Realsuit, whatever, they
yeah,
like it for this direction, yes. But of course, this is not only one single property can do it. It's a really
yeah.
kind of good decisions. So that's why this part is just quite, but it's quite difficult to the one property levels. But
Yeah.
in personal opinion, for just as yes, I thought, oh, this is the environment things, oh, quality very nice. On top of that, ESG parts. So I think it's quite a value for just
Yeah.
additional things.
No, I agree. I think with a hotel like Icon or some of these independent standalone hotels, it's much easier. I mean, if I suppose if let's say Hong Island Shang or the Shard in London was to do it as a kind of pilot project, right? To get and then measure the feedback from the guest. Some of the one in Tokyo, the one in Paris, maybe say four properties, and then they were to not that they have to roll it out throughout the whole company, but maybe the flagship hotels did it. And then if you find that guests are really responding very well to that, then they might consider, oh, maybe we should roll this out throughout the whole company. Because I agree with you. I think when you have 50, 60, 100 hotels, I think even with something like Golden Circle or some of those loyalty programs, it's very hard to keep the standard, right?
Yes. But of course, in general speaking, everybody is look for these directions. So that's why
Yeah.
sooner or later, of course, everybody really look for this direction that can participate immediately. But in this moment, yes, directions, yes, we talk about. But in reality, which company, which property is more
Yeah.
tangible the items we still searching and studying right now. This I
Right.
can say.
So I'm just interested in terms of, like, say, company culture when it comes to this sort of thing, right? As a senior executive in a flagship property, whether you're with Mandarin Oriental or with Rosewood or with Shangri-La, I mean, you've worked with the best, right? Which organization do you think you would be most comfortable going to the GM or to send a note to the corporate office and say, look, I've come across this brand or this supplier that can do what we have now, but can use sustainable materials, can downcycle. They'll take back all our old materials, reuse it, and the price is the same or maybe even slightly cheaper. That is quicker. Which when you come to being, I remember with my own experience, there are certain brands like with I work with Dusitani and I work with Shangri-La and I work with Gulf Hotels. Some companies, it's a bit like a closed door, right? But others, they encourage the senior management to come up with innovative ideas that can save the company money or improve the company's reputation. So, could you tell us a little bit about the three main brands that you've worked with and which one is more encouraging senior management to develop these kind of ideas?
I think this question is just because I'm right now based on Hong Kong. So it means
Yeah,
that if the company headquarters is in Hong Kong, it's more easier than just out of the Hong Kong. So it means, for example, just like roses, mandarins, even the Shangri-Las, everything's based on that Hong Kong. That's why it's more easier to do it as compared to like such a Marriott group or even such as island, sorry, that's intercontinental groups. This is more the headquarters out of the Hong Kong and quite huge that's brandings. That's
yeah,
really different stories. But you mentioned the right now the compares. I think especially Rosewood and Shangri-La really just they're looking for just those ESGs as directions. So I think both of them are really from top down. Really they're looking for those environment friendly things. So that's why it's directions and that's flexibilities. I think that both companies, I think I can strongly believe that it's no problem for that move for us. So, but only that right now in Hong Kong's, it's not really that a particular brand or a particular company can provide for the requirements. That's
yeah.
why we're looking for the outside of the Hong Kong included. So that's why that's more taker times as well as that's like now study levels. We cannot really move the really tangible items on our hands. But your
Yeah.
question is right now, I think it's the company point of view, the culture point of view still. Uh, a lot of the hotels can flexible, can listen to the what's really found better solutions.
Okay. So when it comes to, like, introducing technology into how you, let's say, do your rosters or how you do inventory control, inventory management, waste reduction. Are you using any tech at the moment, or is there anything that you can use or is it everything's done in a traditional way?
In this moment, sometimes really, I can say traditional ways we do it. But some of the outlets we are using for the a bit different uniforms, it's not really plastic usage. Like we need zero polyesters we're using for the one of the outlets. This is a really measurement for the quality and durabilities because this material is very sensitive for the outlet usage. Bits as long lasting cannot using from the test washing point of view, but
Yeah.
actually we can use longer. That's why we are monitoring. So this special material for the inventories, we little bit such a different method we are watching. But
Okay, that's a very
remember
good.
that
That's a very good point. Yeah, I think if let's say when I was at Hotel Icon, when this company Cresswell approached me and then said, "Look, we'd like to test out because we know that your hotel is like a testing, research, training, and research, teaching research hotel, right? So, would you like to test this product?" So when we tested it, and we found that actually is very durable, the staff feel very proud to wear something that is environmentally friendly because a lot of younger people now, like my kids' age, 19, 20 years old, 18, they are much more environmentally conscious than we, maybe our generation, because they're taught in school. My kids won't buy plastic bottles in the shop, for instance. So if those staff feel very proud that they're helping their thing. So let's say somebody was to approach you and say, "Would you like to test out these? There's no cost to you. Just wear these uniform for 1 month or 2 months. Get the staff feedback, wash it, see if it helps you with your cost reduction." Would you think that would you be, for instance, interested in experimenting with something like that? Are you allowed to experiment with something like that?
of course, yes.
Yeah,
Especially just as for example, the housekeepings. Uh, we have a lot of the uniform we have it. Then, of course, there's some of the areas we can try to use things.
yeah,
For example, even the room attendant, for example,
yeah.
if some of the materials, because quite a lot of stuff we have it. So it means quite a
Okay,
lot of uniform we have it. So that's why
yeah.
it's, of course, we can try once. Then, if more durable, then materials very environment friendly, then stuff is more proud of the wearing for those
Yeah.
uniforms. Then of course we can try it and we can
So it's like a
propose.
win-win strategy.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, of
Because
course
I
that's
think that would be a good thing because I think somebody like you, Roy, Rio. So I mean, somebody like you who is very well educated, you're very well experienced. I think that an organization like Shangri-La would value your opinion. They're not just putting you there as a caretaker. They want to get your thoughts. And if you were to come up with an innovative solution and say, "Look, I've tested this out. We can do this, this, and that," and then they see that you can save the company money and improve the brand image. I think that would be very valuable. I mean, they're not. I don't think they would say no. I think that it would be something that if you're saying, "I think this is a future trend and I think we should jump on it," because you're a man of a lot of experience, I think that they would. Do you think that would you feel comfortable to do something like that within this company, do you think?
but of course that's yes, some of that is starting the trigger for that those ESG uniforms. Yes, I'm happy to the for it. Then but of course a bit advanced we talk about the new products, new items, new
Yeah,
technologies. Of course there's not so many markets sharing yet. So means supposing the beginnings or the is a pioneer is really little bit more spend the money, right? That's why these finance issues maybe just affecting for the long beginnings. So
yeah,
this is really just kind of supporting for the no matter the properties company or
mm,
even government,
yeah,
because as a government also that's something can help to the hotel industry itself. So that's why this is not only just one particular the company or the countries, also it's worldwide. Some has this kind of directions, agreements, and can make more easier
yeah.
for everyone. Yes.
Does Shangri-La have like a housekeeping? forum once a year or corporate housekeeping get together with all the housekeepers in the company? How do you share information with each other?
In this moment, such as right now technology came out is quite better, so no need to really traveling for that as once a year. So like
Yeah,
some of the properties, like those Teams or Zoom or even those web seminars, we do the thing for the sharing the things. Then of course, as we can discuss, we talks. Then of course, as ESG is one of the most important parts we are talk about. Then of course, it's what kind of technology we have it. Then last topic is mainly for just we talk about the glass waters because plastic is quite a lot of the usage right now. It's every worldwide, so that's why that's last topic was just the glass bottles. But now it's just maybe just next time to talk about the uniforms or linens. Its directions are more as wider and wider. Then
yeah.
another country is more as specifically just came up for just information, what kind of things they do for the best
Right.
practice. I think this part
So
is also
when is the last time you joined in some sort of corporate get together, or do you do that, or do you just have it at hotel level? Do you get, let's say, if there's a kind of Shangri-La corporate or Shangri-La management
yeah.
get together?
This summer we had it at one meeting. Yes, for the housekeeper things. Yes.
Okay, and what
Then
did they talk about? What are some of the things that they shared about, and who organizes it?
this is the HQ rooms. So we have the participation with the HQ rooms organized for those meetings. Of course, there's another topic that's a talk, not really ESG talking, but talk about mannings, housekeepers, mannings. Also, we have one of the another topics in our department because in worldwide room attendants it's a bit difficult to hiring. So this kind of
Yeah.
issue we have. So this also we talk the things. Yes.
Okay. So this is the group director of rooms, right?
It's groups that are HQ that are in charge of the housekeeping. Yes. The
Okay.
one of
So,
the
so within your organization now, who do you report to?
I reporting for just right now is in this moment as Alan Shanghai doesn't have a director of the rooms, so I'm reporting for just as director operations, hotel number two, I directly reporting to him.
Okay. And then within Shangri-La, who do you report to? I mean, who takes care of housekeeping in Shangri-La now? The
The
group.
HQ rooms is the housekeepers, one of the group housekeepers. We have one in based on the Singapore.
Okay,
She
based in
takes
Singapore.
care of us,
Okay.
yes, for the entire
Okay.
housekeeping.
Okay, great. So I was interested, have you collaborated or done any experiment with any other suppliers or tested out any new products in housekeeping operation?
The linen uniform, such as we work with one uniform from the Tencent, the companies making for the uniforms. This material is just a non-plastic, just mentioned. This uniform that we use up as one times,
Right.
we just measuring. Then apart from the linen and the uniforms, of course, from my experience, there's quite a lot of recycling companies nowadays. Like for example, there's even coffee, the capsules and Nespresso. They also do for participating for the environment's recyclings, whole aluminium as a
Okay.
capsules and
Yeah.
as coffee beans, as well as
Okay.
soft recycling also. Yeah.
Okay. And then, for the future, right? And you're looking forward to the future, and is there any kind of solution or support that you would like to see from industry to help this sustainability goal? For instance, if there's companies like Cresswell doing linen and uniforms, do you think that uh, you would be open to experimenting and sharing some knowledge with them?
I think for the futures, as you mentioned during our conversation right now, it's quite a lot of wastage for the linens and the uniforms. So if this uniforms recycles kind of programmings, because for example, one of the organization studies that only 34% of the garment can recycle or reuse. 66% go into the garbage directories. This is
Wow.
a research study for the garments as an industry right now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if this study says that if 34%, if we can increase it more, I personally feeling that the hotel uniforms less than 34% is recyclable right now.
Right.
It's really the using for the hotel properties. That's the same size of the stuff we can reuse, but after the hundreds, 20, 50 times washing, most probably 2 years terms, we have to kind of dispose it. So
Okay.
if these kind of programs, we can make it for the kind of the more recyclable technology wise. I think it's quite interesting to
Okay.
reduce that. Yes.
So that's very interesting. So I actually, sent you a couple of, you know, PowerPoint presentations about how the Crestwell kind of product regarding uniforms is. What do you can you share your thoughts on that? And because you're an expert on the industry side, they are more looking at it as a tech, as a kind of supply chain and design firm. So there's like fashion and supply chain coming together and trying to use the best of AI. But you're an operator, so it would be very useful and interesting to get your feedback on that.
Actually, that in concept, I very surprisingly and very happy to see for all the programs that the company do the things from these PowerPoints. Especially says AI can design for this as what's really concepts or what we want to think that they can make the drawings immediately. It's timelines, time savings,
Yeah.
as well as that they can produce process as what kind of materials, how we can make it. So it means really that a very surprising and really happy to see
Yeah.
these innovative directions, as well
Okay.
as that they can collecting for that they use to linens, then
Yeah.
reforming the things. So
Yeah.
entire project really, I'm happy to see it as a conceptual point of views. Then, as you can ask me that the operational points, it's of course some of the hotels, some of the outlets, very small amount of the peoples. But
Yeah.
some of the department, some of the hotel is quite huge size of the uniforms.
Right.
So this is a kind of the recycled really this amount, how much amount they can really participate at these programs. This is
Yeah.
a we need to study a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
So if
this
they
is
were able to cope, let's say they could say, yeah, we can cope with six outlets and big volume, and when the staff leaves or the uniform is finished, we will take it all back from you, all your sheets, all your thing. We will buy it back if you like, and then we reuse it for some other purpose, either for your hotel or for some other purpose. That is a very good PR story also, that the brand can say, oh, we are the first hotel to do something like this. Because in Hong Kong, I know nobody else is doing this, right? Not at the moment. And I think that it will be a very good PR story that shows that Shangri-La is very caring, because they talk about Shangri-La care, and how they care for the environment. And, you know, I know that some of the properties where they're operating, in the past they had some criticism because of the rainforest and all that kind of thing. So this would actually be a very good move. So I think that you're right. I agree with you, because for me, it's like a no-brainer. When I looked at that, I thought actually this is a really good idea. And a lot of the fashion industry is doing this already, because a lot of them, they just throw it in the landfill, but now they're able to recycle and reuse a lot of this stuff. So I was interested to know what your thoughts were on that. Yeah, that's great. Okay, good. Well, Rio, it's been really fantastic talking to you and catching up. And thank you
thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Is there anything you wanted to ask me at this point?
No, I think that really appreciate that you invite to meet and these discussions, as well as you share with me that that's quite new things. Then now that I re-studies what we can do the things. So I hope that maybe next conversation I can make some more such as the new produce products. Then maybe we can do for the more better as programming so may can share with you. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
looking forward, and yes, I still keep continue to study as well. Thank
Yeah,
you very
yeah.
much.
I think it would be very interesting, Rio, to do like an experiment maybe with one particular outlet, and then we could do a follow up conversation later. But anyway, thank you very much indeed. Thanks.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much.
Rio, what I'm going to do now, okay? I
Yep.
just want to go. I want to do the first part again, okay? Because my
Yes.
sound was not very good. Just the first 3 minutes, okay?
Sure.
I'm just going to redo that part.
No
So I'm
problem.
just going to introduce you. Just introduce yourself,
Yeah.
say where you work, and I'll just mention quickly about PolyU and how we met. That's
Sure.
all, okay?
No. No
And
problem.
then the rest looks very good. Okay, so
Sure.
we just pretend this is the beginning. Okay.
No problem. Yeah. No problem.
Okay, right. So, good morning, Rio. Welcome to the podcast, and it's great to talk to you. I'm in the UK. You're in Hong Kong, and we met 10 years ago, and worked together on a executive master's course at Hong Kong PolyU when I was GM of Hotel Icon. So that was 9 years ago, and in that time, you've worked in quite a lot of new brands and different brands in Asia, which are the top ones. I know now that you're the executive housekeeper of the Island Shangri-La, which is their flagship property. So could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you ended up at Shangri-La?
Hi. Good morning, Richard. I'm very happy to the reunion with you, and it's already times 10 years. Time flies. So I was really just learned quite a lot in during this exam master courses in PolyU. Because of the classmates, all the people have a well experienced classmates. So I really learned from each other's. Then, as currently, I'm working for the Island Shangri-La's, as a flagship of the Shangri-La groups, as the director of the housekeeping. Then, previously, I working for the Roses and there's a few hotel groups in five-star properties in Hong Kong. So total 17 years in based on the Hong Kong as housekeeper, executive housekeepers.
Okay, great. I was just interested to know why you decided to focus on housekeeping specifically, because I mean, you're originally from Japan, and I know that you educated yourself and you've come through a lot of main chains. So I'm just curious, have you ever considered moving into other areas of hotel management?
First of all, I'm very happy to the work in the housekeepers and as far as of course I can say it right now that I don't think in worldwide in Asia, especially in Japanese, more than 10 years in five-star properties working as a brand. I think that this I can sell it for myself. For example, what's the experience I have it. So this is
Right.
more value for the what I can sell in the market rather than that. Just example is even I be the DOR right now. Japanese director rooms. I think that in worldwide quite few people there.
Right.
But
Right.
if I
Right.
want to sell it myself, yes, these are reasons. Still, I can
Okay.
sell
Well,
it.
that's very good. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's good to be a specialist in a particular area of the industry. And right now, I think the hospitality industry and especially housekeeping, certainly when I was working in Hong Kong, there was a lot of concerns about labor and getting staff and finding people. Is that something that you're experiencing in Hong Kong?
Well, of course, the staffing right now is, I believe that even UK is the same. It's not really easy to find workers because no matter AI or whatever the advance, still the housekeepers needs clean up the rooms.
Right.
One day somebody developing for just clean up the rooms, make up beds. Somebody developing, most
Yeah,
probably just housekeeping to the all AIs. But
that's
I
right.
think that this part is just a bit more difficulty right now. So
Okay.
in technology points, as right now, the vacuum cleaner, for example, there's quite a lot of the old vacuum cleaners in a shopping mall or airports can see it. So, but in housekeeping work, it's more analog, more see that flexibility happens. Like, for example, even just on the beds, guest belongings, put it, what is guest belongings, and things they
Yeah.
have to recognize. So that's why that maybe it's just within 5 years more difficult to do for the AIs.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
futures, I hope really can do for the people can do that. AI can do helps them more housekeeper also more easier to operate it. This
Right.
is I'm looking for the times.
Yeah, and I was just interested to know quickly, if you compare the three main brands that you work with, Shangri-La, Mandarin Oriental, and Rosewood, would you say that all three are kind of doing the same thing with regard to ESG and sustainability? Are they following the basic regulation, or any of them going above and beyond?
I think Mandarins are actually I left the property almost 7, 8 years, almost sorry 9 years because when I met you saying it's already in Intercontinental at the times. So means at
Yes.
that time already left in IMO group. So that's why almost 9 years before. That's why a bit difficult to compare. But
Yeah.
9 years ago, the time that's the Mandarin's Oriental is just one of the flags. I think first hotel really do for the ESG. That's the
Mm.
time they really care of the things because every year they put on us as letters to us as even the shareholders. They shared what the environment things they are doing, sustainable things, and
Okay.
even the group point of view, such as learning course for us as what those are sustainable things. It's the entire colleagues they did. That's why at that time the amount is quite advanced. They do it compared to another hotels. I strongly believe. But
Right.
that's why now it's already 9 years past. That's why I can't really compare this another Rosewood and the Shangri and the Mandarin right now. But in general speaking, just as yes, more or less they are looking for the similar directions. Because as a market or even just as organizations, sorry, that's everyone's watching the same direction for the environment things. So
Yeah.
that's why some of the hotels said, "Oh, I'm luxury, that's why I can't do it." Never say it's everybody looking for that. That's more environment, more things. Especially
Yeah.
Shangri right now is as a really that's from top down to really take care for the ESG. That's why that's I can say that right now more strongly. I can feel it. That's why that during our conversation at that times that's what we can propose, what can move forward. It's really tangible is what we can produce, and maybe we can discuss the thing with HQ sites. I
So
strongly
that's
believe.
great. Yeah, it's good to know that Shangri-La is very open to listening to the feedback from senior management like you, who can tell them about new things that they've seen, or if they've been to a trade show and there's something new that they can consider. So I think that's very good because you're right. Each country in Asia has different regulations, whether you're in Thailand, Indonesia, Maldives, or whatever. So and I guess is do you think that Hong Kong and China, the regulations are almost the same now as far as ESG and sustainability?
I think that's different regulations, but the directions are almost the same. But I
Okay.
think China is more that's how do you say it, like they don't use the cash right now, or that's a thing, right? Compared to the Hong Kong, still some of it still we can use the cash, but China they said they never seen the cash nowadays. It's
Yeah, yeah,
really all that's online and things. That's why there might be a little bit different ways.
yeah. Okay.
But hotel point of view is really just a Hong Kong government requirement to us as a single plastic don't use, or as those things more strictly mentioned
Right.
to other than the other countries. That's why this part is a little more difficult for us right now.
Okay. Rio, thanks a lot. And yeah, that's great. I'm going to end the recording now. I'm going to put stop. Okay. And then we